the original Nintendo 3DS XL. I need to take this apart because it has been broken at the hinge here on the right side. Somebody tried to fix it with super glue. We're going to get inside there, we're going to take it apart, I'm going to show you how to do that yourself. Thank you so much for watching the video. This is a no-nonsense, complete disassembly tutorial on the 3DS XL. To do this, you're going to need yourself a fine pair of tweezers, a wooden marker, and a size 0 Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to start by removing the stylus, as well as removing the SD card from the 3DS XL. Now we have 2 screws here at the top. We're going to use our size 0 Phillips head screwdriver to unscrew these. Once we've unscrewed those, we can now remove this backplate. Just use your fingernails, or if you have like some sort of plastic screwdriver, you can get in there and pry this thing apart. Your fingernails should work just fine. Might take a little persuasion and delicately working around the edge, but eventually you will hear a pop. That's completely normal. You have not broken anything, I swear. I would not direct you to breaking your stuff. That's just not how I roll. We're gonna pop this thing off. You can see I had a little bit of difficulty. It's first time pulling this thing off of here. Next, we're gonna remove the battery. A very simple design. There's a little slot right here. You can put your finger in and just lift upward. The battery comes out very effortlessly. Now we've got 5 screws total. 4 of them are set in the console. Here, 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 and here. Final screw is up here at the cartridge slot. Don't forget about that one. Now we have 2 stoppers here that we're going to remove. I used my fingers to remove the first one. Very easily it came out. The second one, however, gave me a little bit of trouble, so I used my wooden marker to remove that one. And now we have 2 screws under here. Again, Phillips head, size 0. And again, do not forget your cartridge slot screw. Now that we have removed all of the screws from the backside, we can then grab a hold of it and lift it upward and tilt it towards the cartridge slot. It's imperative that you do that because there are ribbon cables in the top left and right hand corners that we're going to need to pop off. They pop very easily with very little effort. You can use a small flathead screwdriver or whatever. You can use your fingernails if you'd like. You have at the bottom left and right hand corner, you have little plastic pieces here. You're going to remove those with your tweezers. And then also at the bottom right hand corner, we have a ribbon cable attachment that we're going to need to lift up and then pull out. Up at the top right hand side, we also have a series of these ribbon cables that we're going to need to remove. The one at the top removes differently than the one underneath. So it was the white piece on this one. We flipped it upward. Then remove the ribbon cable using your tweezers safely. And then the black side is where the clip is on this one. You'll lift that up and again use your tweezers to remove the ribbon cable. And just underneath of that we have our analog stick that we're going to remove 2 screws from. That little piece there that's hanging, you can just lift it straight up. It's not secured in any particular fashion. It's very easy. Didn't get that on camera, I apologize, but I mean, you just grab it and just lift it right up, it comes right off. Just be careful not to yank on it. Now we can remove this here, and underneath we have a little black washer. We're gonna need to set that off to the side and remember to put that in upon our replacement. And do not remove the analog stick from the motherboard. There's no need to. Not when you're doing a case replacement or any kind of... Really, I can't see any reason to disconnect that unless you are replacing the analog stick. And as you can see here, I have 4 screws that we're going to use our screwdriver to remove. Again, a size 0 Phillips head screwdriver. At the bottom, we have 2 more Phillips head screws that we need to remove. And then a series of 4, again, over on the left side of the motherboard. This is our Wi-Fi card. I'm using my wooden marker to lift it upward very delicately. It pops off, again, very, very easily. All of the components that you remove like this, they come off super easy. And we're going to disconnect this cable from the back side here. Just pull it off. We can now use a small flathead screwdriver to get underneath of the motherboard very carefully, lift it upward, and again, tilt it towards the cartridge slot because there is one more ribbon cable connecting on this side. Again, it is a clip mechanism. You just pop it up and it comes right out of there. This is a LCD screen we're going to lift up with our finger. You will hear some cracking. That is just adhesive being disturbed. That's all that sound is. You lift it up and out, and then we will grab basically these are like pads for the buttons. So we're going to remove all of those. Now we can remove our buttons. I chose to do it this way just by getting up underneath of it and popping them upward. You can, do it however you want to do it to get it out of there. To each his own. Choose your own adventure. Now on this side of where the top glass is, or the top screen, there are these little pads. There are 4 of them. And I used my wooden marker to get up underneath of these, to remove these pads. And then underneath of these pads are screws. So there are, again, 4 of these we're going to remove and then use our small size 0 Phillips head screwdriver to remove those. Now we can remove the top plate, make sure that your case is closed up, and then push forward from the back and it will pop off. We're going to remove this screw here. This is our speaker section. These little silver rectangles are speakers, and there are tiny little mesh pieces that go between the speaker and the plastic. So remember when you were removing all of this stuff to put all of that stuff in a safe spot. Put your screws somewhere safe. Put everything together. You don't want to be putting this back together and being like, I don't have all of the screws, or I don't have all these pieces. I didn't remember to put those mesh pieces in there, and now whenever my speaker makes noise, it buzzes. All right, now you see this area here? It is a catastrophe. The person who owned this previously used super glue to fix it. And I actually had to take a little piece of somebody else's tutorial to show you how to properly do this. However, he did not get the best camera angle. He's got his big fat fingers in the way. And I understand. It's easy to get your big fat fingers in the way of the camera lens. I try my best not to do that anymore. Basically, this guy's grabbing a piece of plastic here and working it upward, and then removing it out with his tweezers. Now inside, you see this little white piece here towards the base? You have to push that in to the circle in order to get this to unhinge properly. can now pull this upward and it will pop off. Now on the other side, you can just pop it open as well. And then he's using a pair of tweezers to kind of work this little cylinder here apart. Now, there's a little slot here that the ribbon cables can be fed through. And then the long green wireless cable wire. Wireless cable wire. All right, back to me doing this now. I had to do this by completely different means than what I just showed you. I showed you that version of it because I know most of you who are going to be repairing these aren't going to have the kind of hindrance that I had with the super glue. Somebody tried to repair this thing with super glue and it completely stopped me from being able to take it apart the way that that guy did. I believe that the repair that I'm making is probably a very common repair. I would imagine that most of the breaks that happen on 3DS XLs probably happen on the right bumper or the left bumper from people accidentally dropping them and causing some sort of break to the case, as well as, you know, the actual bumper itself. So hopefully this tutorial helps you get through that, and if you happen to buy one that somebody else repaired very similarly, you know, and very stupidly a word? I don't know. But this right here is a camera, and we're going to lift that up with our fingers. Comes right up. And now there's this little piece here that's connected with a ribbon cable. You just lift that up. And now it's time to remove the screen from this part of the case. Again, you will hear some cracking. Do it from the bottom side, or, you know, the screen side. You just grab up there, and then you push with your fingers. You're going to hear cracking. That is, again, the adhesive, just like from the previous screen. Now, the last thing that we have to remove here is the wireless cable wire that I so ironically mentioned before. Maybe I didn't ironically mention it before, but the whole thing is ironic, man. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, completely disassembled and ready for a cosmetic enhancement on the case. I'm going to show you how to customize your 3DS XL in the next video. Whatever theme you want. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing Mega Man or Zelda or Metroid. I don't know. But if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe, hit notifications so you know when it comes out, and thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in the next video.